on, everybody? Justin here, and in this video we're going to be going over kind of my 2019 reading goals and seeing how well I did with them over the course of the year. And in 2019 I set myself 8 goals and I kind of completed 5-ish of them, I guess. I think 1 or 2 of them is kind of a stretch. 3 I just totally flopped with, but yeah, let's just go over them right now. So the first one, let's go over the ones I completely failed with. Basically, the first one, let's go with read or finish 10 fantasy series that I've already started. I think in the year before, in 2018, I had started, I think, 20 something series. And in 2019, I was like, yeah, I gotta finish some of these up. The problem with that is I only finished 2 series. or caught up to the last book in the series, with 2 different series in 2019, and one of them was T.H. White's Once and Future King, which I started in 2019, so that wasn't even one I had carried over from 2018. I think the one series I did finish was Django Wexler's Shadow Campaigns Flintlock Fantasy 5-book series. That's, I think, the only one that I finished that I had started in 2018 that I also finished in 2019. So yeah, that was just just an absolute flop, basically. Another one that I failed with that I'm kind of really disappointed, kind of looking back on when I was going through all the books I read in 2019, is I kind of set a vague goal for myself to read more ancient history works, and that was just a disaster. After looking at it, I only read 4 ancient history, and ancient history for me is anything pre-classical Greek civilization. So, all of the Mesopotamian civilizations, like ancient Persia, Persia, the Minoans, Mycenaeans, Hittites, all that kind of stuff, all the Bronze Age cultures and everything. Yeah, I only read 4, so that was bad. That was just really bad. So I think that those 2 goals might be kind of carried over to this year, and actually have to make somewhat of a better effort with that. We'll definitely see how that one goes. And then my other goal was to get caught up on that Galley, which also was probably the most futile effort ever. I think when I discovered NetGalley, I fell behind really fast because I applied for 30 or 40 books and I got a lot of them. And I was like, oh, I guess I didn't realize that. Even though I've caught up on a lot of those ones, I've kind of been just asking for books and more books throughout 2019, and I think I'm over halfway reading and reviewing them and all that stuff, just not, I'm just still behind though, just sheer volume wise. So with that one, that was also just a complete flop, though that one will always probably be, unless I just stop requesting books, I don't see how I really catch up with them. But those were the 3 I just absolutely just wasn't even close. It was just, like I said, that was just dismal with the ancient history books. I definitely need to make a more concerted effort with kind of something like that going forward. Alright, so let's go on to the ones that I either kind of did, if I interpreted properly, or that I definitely did do. The first one is to read 52 books, and I always do that just for 1 book a week. Basically, it's kind of I don't know, I think kind of the yearly book, or how many books, is kind of a weird thing, because a lot of books are different. My what was the book that 800 something page biography of Napoleon, compared to 100-page very short introduction on Forrest that I want to read this month. It's so but anyways, I set 52, 1 for each week, and I kind of do that just because I know I'll hit it, so it's not there's no pressure or anything. It's just kind of there because I feel like I almost have to. I don't know. This probably wasn't the best defense of having a Goodreads book challenge goal. All right, let's go on to the next one. Let's see. Read 5 history books on eras that I don't normally read. And I actually did do that one. I read primarily for history books, ancient history, classical Greek and Roman history, and medieval history. And I also read a lot of World War I history. So my goal was kind of to just branch out and read a couple books on, topics that weren't those ones, I guess. So actually, I did pretty good with some early modern history. I read I guess a biography is not the right word. A book on The House of the Medicis in Florence. That was kind of interesting. I think a Revolutionary War book. A couple other ones, like the biography of Napoleon that I mentioned a little bit ago, like a book on pirates and stuff. So I did do quite a bit on a couple areas that I don't normally do. So that was definitely good. I think I wrote down 7 when I was like looking at them. So I definitely hit the 5. Probably feel like I could do maybe a little bit more, but I don't know. I feel pretty good. That's like one every other month because, like I said, they're not my favorite. So I think overdoing it would probably be bad, anyways. So glad I hit that one. Another one was to read more philosophy books, and this one was kind of like one of those like, how do I interpret what a philosophy book is? Because technically, I did pretty good. I read 7, which was more than I did I think the year before. Though I think a lot of them were kind of more, maybe not philosophy, yeah, philosophy books, but more just kind of philosophical books. But I'm kind of like just going with it. I'm like still redoing kind of my Goodreads shelving because it got like super messy and stuff. So we'll see exactly how many I categorize as like partially like on the philosophy shelf that I read in 2019. I'll probably do like a video just like on that and stuff and kind of go over that sort of thing. But like I said, I hit it, but I didn't really read any strict. I think I only read like 2 actual, philosophy books, like on actual, uh, I don't know, like schools of thought and that sort of thing. Which that's like I said. Besides Stoicism, I'm not like super like into a lot of that philosophy anymore. I used to be like when I was in college, because I minored in it, but I think as I've gotten older, primary sources just like since I don't read the primary sources anymore, it just I don't know. Philosophy works just kind of seem a little too esoteric, even for my taste. Another goal was to read more memoirs or explore like kind of memoirs a little bit more. I read some biographies, but I had just started reading memoirs. I think I read a couple in 2018, and I wanted to kind of keep going and read more of that. And I actually did really good. I think depending on how you kind of interpret it, I read like 10 or 11 memoir-ish books, which is actually like almost one a month. So I thought that was actually really good. A few were obviously like strict, like they're actually meant to be memoirs. Though this one kind of ties into the next goal. The sort of genre of like adventure and travel and exploration and that sort of thing blends together really well with the idea of a memoir, and I think that's where a lot of my memoirs kind of were coming from. I think about like 5 or 6 of them were kind of in that sort of travel adventure subgenre, but obviously a lot of that is also, since it's like kind of retelling specific episodes from someone's life, it's also like a memoir, mostly through the book as well. So I really definitely enjoy that. That's, like I said, going into this next goal of finding 2 subgenres that I would like to keep reading. That sort of exploration, adventuring, I don't even know what you'd call it. And like kind of the life sciences, like nature journalism kind of goes along with that as well. Really good. I just think, I don't know, they just seem to like grab me, the whole, I don't know, doing something exciting and like kind of like writing about it. I don't, I don't, I don't know. I think it's called like the adventure like it's like travel and adventure, I guess. I didn't really know much about it till like last year, but been starting to compile like a pretty big list of books that I kind of want to read in that like subgenre. But I think I did like one video on it earlier in like in the middle of like 2019 stuff. Probably do another one once I read a few more, kind of go over some of my favorites for that if you guys are interested in something like that. I did try Anthropology some more. Still, I've only read like one-ish that I've actually like enjoyed more than like a middle of the road meh kind of book. So like I tried it, still haven't really clicked with it yet. I did try like 1 or 2 economics books and like 1 or 2 like political-ish books. Not like pundit books, but kind of like on like, I don't know, political theory, I guess might be the best way to put it. Did not really enjoy those like a ton. They didn't like make me, go back for more. So definitely tried some, but yeah, take it as it is. But for for the second one in the Find 2 subgenre street, this is kind of my like weenie way of like completing it, is I'm I found like some sci-fi that I really like, which is actually a lot of the Warhammer Horus Heresy stuff. If you guys have heard of like Warhammer 40K, Warhammer Horus Heresy is basically like the prequel to all that, so it's Warhammer 30K essentially. And I actually read, I think, like almost a dozen books kind of set in that time period of that universe, um, with Space Marines and all that stuff. And it's very like low sci-fi, obviously, and there's actually like a lot of magic and stuff, magical elements as well. So it's kind of like science fantasy stuff, but they're on spaceships in the future with laser like bolter guns and stuff, along with their like swords and whatnot. So it's kind of sci-fi. So I'm gonna go with Warhammer as its own subgenre, and if that doesn't count, I'll just classify it as sci-fi, as like a second subgenre that I actually enjoy reading now. So there you guys have. Those were the 8 goals that I set for myself in 2019. I know most of my goals are kind of more, well, I don't know, subjective, which is basically just like read more of this or find this kind of like subgenre or whatever, more than just strict numbers. I feel like I do better sort of with that sort of objective, if that makes sense. And I will be having my 2020 goals video coming out hopefully soon. I feel like I'm doing pretty good so far in the new year with my channel, even though my face is like completely destroyed. For whatever reason, my face is just like, we're gonna try and sabotage you, Justin, so you don't stay consistent. But I'm like, no, I gotta do it anyways. That's definitely gonna be one of my 2020 goals. But anyways, if you guys have done a video kind of reviewing your 2019 goals and how you did, with those, leave a comment and a link down below so I can definitely go check it out, or just tell me in a comment what your favorite goal that you accomplished or that you met in 2019 was. I'm always kind of interested to see what other people are kind of like trying to strive for with their like reading habits, or kind of like what they're reading and things like that. But yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the video at all. There, see, like I almost got away without saying, this was really cringy to like, do all those plugs and stuff. But yeah, check my Twitter and my Instagram out, all that good stuff, my Etsy shop, everything like that. I'm gonna find a smoother way to transition to that, someday. But for now, you're just going to deal with this like really just awkward. Here's like every link like under the sun. But anyways, whether or not you met your 2019 reading goals, I hope in the coming future that you're gonna read victoriously.